If you are familiar with my channel, then you'll know that I've talked about several different letters that used to be part of English, like win and yoch, to ash, ev, and thorn. But did you know that this used to be a letter in English? Yes, the humble ampersand used to be the 27th letter of the alphabet, all the way into the late 19th century. The alphabet song literally used to end X, Y, Z, and ampersand. But it didn't used to be called that. For the longest time, the name for this symbol was just and. So, what happened? Well, it used to be common to say per se, Latin for by itself, when you are talking about a letter that also happens to be a word. So, to specify you're talking about the letter I and not the word I, you would say, I per se I. And when you're talking about the character and, you would say, and per se and. But, just as kids today slur together LMNOP into one single letter, kids in the 18th century corrupted and per se and into ampersand. But what about the symbol itself? Where does it come from? Well, it actually also has something to do with Latin. In Latin, the word for and is et. You can see the evolution of the ligature in calligraphy, but it can be made even more apparent in modern day typefaces. Pretty cool, no? Of course, ampersand is not the only symbol for and out there. I can think of at least two others in English. I guess three if you count the word and. You'll often see the plus sign used to mean and it actually has the same origins as the ampersand, coming from the ligature of the Latin et. Another one is this epsilon thingy. It also has the same origins. But what do they use in other languages? Well, there are plenty of languages that have a word for and that's just one character, like Spanish, Ukrainian, and Japanese. But I'm thinking something more like Greek. In Greek, there's a symbol, not too dissimilar to our ampersand, representing their word for and, chi, that is a ligature of kappa, alpha, and iota, though admittedly it mostly just looks like a cursive kappa. Similarly, Armenian has the letter yev, that is a ligature for their word for and. In Swedish, ampersand is used, but so is this symbol. But my personal favorite might have to be that used in Scottish Gaelic and Irish. This. In Irish, this is called the agus, but in English, we call it the Tironian et, part of a series of thousands of signs called the Tironian notes, a system of Latin shorthand named for its creator, Marcus Tullius Tiro. It has the same meaning and etymology as our ampersand, and in fact, it's quite common in Ireland to see the ampersand translated into the Tironian et. The Tironian et was once part of Old English, and it actually had another use than just to mean and. It was also a phonetic symbol that sounded like owned, the Old English word for and. So, some Old English manuscripts had words like sond, the Old English word for water, that's the ancestor of our word sound, written s Tironian et. I think we should bring it back. Can you imagine having that tile in Scrabble? That would be awesome. I suppose it would also fundamentally change the way we use the written word to communicate with each other, but I'm mostly thinking about it from a Scrabble perspective. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a nice day.